Hello, this is Telomere and welcome to another repair video. In this video, we're looking at one super beat up looking iPhone 7. I'm just going to show you right off the bat what it looks like there. Look at that right there. Now this doesn't, like the bottom of the screen's gone, but if you look at this at an angle, it's not just gone. It's really bent. It turned into a bit of a banana, not a full-on banana, but even right here, you can see that it's bent. It's bent right in the center here. But the good thing is that this side is straight right across here. And why that's important is because, oh, it's not. Oh, no. Hopefully we're okay, because this side right here, that's where the motherboard is. Nevertheless, this is a trade-in I got with a whole bunch of other phones from a customer. And I thought to myself, you know what? He said that it's been unlocked. I should be able to go and give it a go with this iPhone 7. Okay, first off, I'm noticing that the pentalobe screws are a little bit on the dirty side, so I'm going to give those just a quick clean so that I don't end up getting something permanently damaged. One of the screws stripped. They seem to be coming out pretty easily. Now it's been snapped on both sides of that screen, but I think there still might be some stuff connected to it. So I'm going to try just pulling the whole thing out. It's so bad that it's actually cracked along the antenna lines. That is bad. I'm barely even having to. I'm going to start using it now, but I'm barely even having to use a pick to get into this thing. There we go. It's got an Amp-Centrix battery in there. How about that? So what I'm looking here at, and I'm happy to see, is that the battery itself isn't bloated or anything like that. I'm going to give this a quick test first. There's a couple of devices I can use right here. This is a TriStar tester. This right here tests the charge port itself to see if there's any pins or anything that are not correct and are not working properly. Now, I don't think I have these as links inside of my video description, but I'll try to get them into this video. If there is any tools in this video that you feel that you will need for yourself while working on phones, I do have Amazon affiliate links for all of the tools and some of the parts that I use in the video description. So I'm just stuffing that in there. Let's see what the TriStar tester says. Failed. So it's very likely that I'm not even going to be able to use it. It's probably the charge port has been damaged. And we'll probably see the same thing with this. I'll just turn it on. I'm just pushing in that thing there. You just push it in. The lever it tells it to reset. So let's plug this in and see what that says. It's not going to show anything. Oh, it shows something. L1P is showing it's disconnected. Ground is ground. Everything else is showing correctly. It's just L1P, which I don't know what it is not showing up correctly. Now for the next test, I want to see whether or not this has any charge. I feel like I've done this particular test before. I just want to see whether or not it draws any amperage. And usually with a phone in this bad a shape, it's not generally the best idea to do it. But, yeah, it's pulling something. Yeah, no, it's actually charging. How about that? There's a shocker. Like, that's a normal-ish charge. So at least the charge circuit's working. And if you're wondering about this phone floating off to the side, this is an iPhone 7 that is in okay shape. I am planning to take the guts out of this one if it's working properly, and I'm going to put it into this phone. Let's get this screen removed. Now there is, as I said, there is the possibility it might be locked. And if it does show up locked, it's not actually the biggest deal in the world. Well, it'll make me a little bit uncomfortable because that means I'm going to have to do a reset and just cross my fingers and hope that the customer did in fact remove it from their iCloud. Okay, I don't have a button connected up to this at the moment, but all I'm caring about right now is whether or not this will show, whether or not it'll have any display. I am kind of concerned because that bend is right down the center of that motherboard. Okay, let's plug that in again. At this point, it should show something on the display. Oh, look at that. It didn't just show something, it turned on. Did I forget to plug the battery back in? I did. That explains a lot. Let's just unplug that. There we go. Rookie mistake. There you go. Dead battery message. So, just gotta let it charge for a bit and we'll see what happens next. Well, I have put it on the computer and I got it reset and I think that it worked on the computer itself. It said that it was unlocked. Don't worry about the flashing screen. It's not saying unlocked right now. Sometimes when you're working on a phone like this and you toss in a new screen, they sometimes jitter a little bit. Yeah, I see down there at the bottom it's jittering. I'm not even sure if that's showing up on screen. I had to transfer over the home button as well. The home button's cracked, but I think it still kind of works. And let's just test it right now. See, it works. It does work. I would like to leave it in place personally, but we'll see. You notice that I'm actually able to use the touch feature even though it said at the beginning something about an account being present. And that's simply because I don't know why it does that. For some reason it just has a bit of a ghost of account and it says that it's been unlocked later. Oh, I don't get it. But yeah, you can see quite clearly that I'm able to go all the way in despite the fact that there was an account, because the customer that gave me this phone had made sure that it had been removed from their account, which is great. Now with the iPhone 7s, there's a major thing that you need to test before we go forward with any more rebuild, because I mean that thing is kind of bananaed right at the moment. And what you need to check is audio and its ability to record audio, because a lot of them have a problem with the audio IC chip, and that can cause a lot of problems, including not being able to hear calls. So I'm immediately just going to turn up the volume, and now I just remembered that I haven't put the new earpiece in. You might not hear anything at all. Alright, I got that installed. Now there's just some things I got to point out. As the phone is in pretty bad shape, there's some things that may not even work at all. I'm going to try to get them to work. May as well turn this on as we go. Let's get in here and we're going to see what's possible. Now, the first thing that you can do immediately if you're trying to test to see if the audio IC chip for an iPhone iPhone 7 is not functioning is the voice memos. So in voice memos, this button right here, the red one, is usually grayed out, I'm pretty sure. And you can see right here that you can see the lines of me talking into it. And I'm going to just turn the volume up. Let's just hear what it sounds like. I'm going to turn the rocker up as well. And you can see right here that you can see the lines of me talking into it. There you go. So that's really great to see that audio IC, let's more like here, that the audio IC chip is doing what it's supposed to. That is a really big one because it's not an easy repair. I actually have an iPhone 7 that's been sitting on the shelf for an absolute age, probably over a year, just waiting for that part to be worked on. So now that I'm sure of that at least working, I think I'm willing to start working on it and move it over to this phone instead. It's not in terrible shape. It's got a little bit of scratches, but what's really important is that the frame is not bent. Okay, so let's get this thing taken apart. So I think I'm going to remove the battery first. And since this is an Amp-Centric's battery, it's very likely that it still is it probably is only a year or so old, so I'd bet that it's probably in the 90 percentile. Nice, got that battery out. Only thing that I'm interested in keeping is just the motherboard. Now with the iPhone 7, the only thing that really matters is the home button that needs to be matched up. Even then, it'll still work. It just won't work as a fingerprint reader. I'm also not going to worry about the screws and where they go in. I'm going to use the screws from the new phone to go and put those back in, and I'm just going to toss these all in a pile. You can see that's got a little bit of a bend to it, but it's not terrible. Hopefully it'll straighten out when I put in the new phone. Nothing else here that I want to carry over, unless of course the camera in the new phone is dead or something. It's very important that we make sure that we have all our screws in the right spots. So I'm going to be mapping these out as best I can. At this point there is one last screw that is hidden, and to get to this screw you need to pull up this ribbon cable. You can see this one, it's right underneath the camera ribbon cable. It's just a Phillips, but if you don't take that one out, you're not going to get the motherboard out. Also, you got to get these little antenna cables out as well. Helps to have some really small tweezers. But you can see how loose it already is. I don't know where the SIM tray went. I might have used it in another phone, but this is pretty loose. There is one more cable that needs to pop out. It's right here. I'm not absolutely sure what it's for, but yeah, that should do it. Let's get this board out. There we go. I'm leaving the battery in because I'm kind of curious about what the battery health is. And when I put this all back together, because of the version of this iPhone, it should be able to identify what the battery health is. And if it's good enough, I may not even need to carry over the old battery. I might use that battery maybe even in another device. That'd be pretty cool. Oh, I know why it was so hard to get out. You see this little plunger right here? This is for the this popping out the SIM tray. It's right here. It's a really good idea to push this in to get the motherboard out more easily. So yeah, that was most likely why I was having such difficulty. See how easy that fell in? Now just connect up all the ribbon cables, except the power. Just helps hold everything in place just a little bit better. You can't put this one back down until you put that screw in place first. So let's do that. And before I throw all the screws in, it would be a good idea for me to give this another test. And the reason is because of those stresses on the motherboard. There's a possibility that ribbon trace might have tore the moment that it got taken off stress, off all that pressure. So that is something I've got in mind right now for that. There's a ribbon cable that's down below there. That's not supposed to be down there. Let's get that out. Alright, good enough for now. I just want to test this. I'm not even going to attach the earpiece. Just the screen. Let's find out what that battery health is at. 97%. Woo! That's a rarity. Look at that. That's an original Apple battery at 97%. You just notice some sort of liquid down at the bottom there. It feels like a kind of an oil. I'm not sure what that would have come from. I think I'm ready to go and start putting everything back in. There we go. We got all the screws in. And we didn't have to take any of this out because, well, I don't trust anything at the bottom of that one. So I got to go through some testing as well, but we've just put this all back in. The board is under a bit of stress right now, so I'd like to try turning it on again. I know it sounds weird constantly having to do tests, but when you have a board that came out looking slightly bent, you really need to do multiple tests as you go. You want to do an initial test after you've taken the board out. You want to do another test once you've put it in with a couple of screws, and then you do another test. And then you do another test once you got it all together. Constant tests. Alright, it still is turning on very well. Sounds coming out of both, very good. At this point, I think I'm confident enough to go and put the rest of the phone back together. And to do that, I got to take it somewhat back apart in order to put a new adhesive strip on for the screen seal. Now this isn't the cleanest screen, but as you saw from the back, it's in not perfect shape in any form. And even the SIM card that I'm going to be putting into there is going to be somewhat off color. Fortunately, it's going to be the original SIM tray, which is nice because that IMEI number will match up with the motherboard, which is also really nice. So let's get these plugged in. You know what, I'm gonna put this in while I'm at it. But yeah, if you're looking to make money off of stuff like this, you got to know where it's worth cutting for costs. And like this back, for example, I've saved probably I'd say $25 to $30 on it just by using a used one from an old phone instead of buying another one. By using the screen that's from another pull, I've probably saved maybe another $20. Battery is another thing entirely, but there's parts in here also that may have gone bad in the other phone. So I'd say in total, just by using that old phone that I received from a customer, it's possible that I may have saved as much as $60 or $70 on a phone that I could only sell for maybe $120 maximum. Just doing one last final look through, it looks good and happy. Now with the 7s, you got to start off with the top because it's got those little slits in the screen that locks in. I like to push down there and just clip, clip. Very good. Pentalobe screws in. There we have it. It's not in perfect shape, but I mean, we came from this to this, and that is a vast improvement. And I wish that I could get a new button for that, as it is cracked, but I mean, its fingerprint reader is still working, which is really great to see. And you will no longer have the fingerprint reader if you replace that button with a one from another phone or a third-party one. You'll lose fingerprint reading capabilities. So that's that. And that's all there is to this video, guys. We have it finally fixed. It's just, I don't know, the capabilities, just how much these phones can take a beating, you know, going from this to I'm just baffled by that. It's incredible that it can go from being this beat up to being able to fix it. That's just not something being bent like this phone was. You can see that extreme bend in that phone. It is truly a banana, and yet it was, because it's just one layer board, it wasn't all that affected by the bend. So it's really great. So if you guys like the video, please do leave a like, and if you want to see more of my stuff, subscribe. We'll see you guys all in another video. Bye.